You're lying in bed at 2 a.m. trying to sleep, and there it is, the chorus, again. You haven't heard this song in 3 years. You don't even like this song, but your brain has decided that right now, at 2 a.m., is the perfect time to replay it on a loop, just the same 10 seconds, over and over, and you can't make it stop. This happens to 98% of us. Almost every human being on Earth has experienced a song getting lodged in their brain like a splinter. Scientists have a name for it, the earworm. And the reason it happens is stranger than you'd think. The word earworm comes from the German Ohrwurm, literally earworm. It first appeared in English in 1978 in a novel by Desmond Bagley, who specifically noted he was borrowing the German term. But the phenomenon has been driving humans crazy for much longer. Mark Twain wrote about it in 1876 in a story called A Literary Nightmare, about a jingle you can only get rid of by passing it to someone else. For over a century, it was just an annoyance. Then scientists started taking it seriously. And what they found changed how we understand the brain. The scientific term is involuntary musical imagery, IMI for short. And the key word here is involuntary. This isn't the same as choosing to think about a song. It's not even the same as having a song pop into your head and then naturally leave. An earworm is a specific kind of mental loop, typically 15 to 30 seconds long, that your brain generates without your permission. In his 2007 book Musicophilia, neurologist Oliver Sacks described what's happening at the neurological level. The auditory cortex, the part of your temporal lobe that processes real sound, activates when you're imagining music too. When you have an earworm, your auditory cortex lights up exactly as if you were actually hearing the song. Your brain is generating phantom music. This is different from an auditory hallucination. Hallucinations are caused by damage to the temporal lobe and feel like real external sound. People experiencing musical hallucinations often believe the music is playing somewhere in the room. Earworms feel internal. You know the music is in your head, not in the environment. But your auditory cortex doesn't seem to care about the difference. The 98% statistic comes from research by James Kellaris at the University of Cincinnati. In a survey of over 1,000 people, Kellaris found that men and women experience earworms equally often. But there's a twist. Women's earworms tend to last longer, and women report being significantly more irritated by them. Your personality plays a role too. A study by Negishi and Sekiguchi examined the Big Five personality traits and found that neuroticism, the tendency toward anxiety and worry, significantly predicts how frequently you get earworms. People who score high in neuroticism experience them more often. People with obsessive-compulsive tendencies, specifically the intrusive thoughts component, also report more earworms. Compulsive washing, interestingly, had no correlation. It was specifically the unwanted mental intrusion piece. And if you're musically trained, you actually get earworms differently. Musical expertise created what the researchers called an effect of sophistication. Musicians report more detailed and controllable musical imagery, but they're not immune to the annoying kind. They just experience it with richer detail. In 2016, Kelly Jakubowski and colleagues at the American Psychological Association published a landmark study identifying exactly what makes a song likely to become an earworm. They found 3 key ingredients. First, a fast, upbeat tempo. Earworm songs tend to be energetic. Think of tracks like Can't Get You Out of My Head by Kylie Minogue. And yes, that title is not a coincidence. Or Bad Romance by Lady Gaga. Both were among the most frequently reported earworms in the study. Second, a simple, predictable melodic shape. The melody follows patterns your brain can grab onto and replay with minimal effort. It's not complex jazz harmonies getting stuck. It's straightforward pop structures with clear, singable contours. And third, this is the most interesting piece, earworm songs almost always contain something unusual. An unexpected melodic interval, a unique rhythmic pattern, a repetition that breaks the rules just enough to be noticeable. If a song is too predictable, your brain processes it and moves on. But if it has just the right amount of novelty, enough to make your brain register surprise, it lodges in place. Kellaris's earlier research adds another layer. 73.7% of earworms are songs with lyrics. Only 7.7% are purely instrumental. Words and music together create a double hook. Your brain gets caught on both the melody and the language simultaneously. The other 18.6% come from jingles and advertising, which makes sense when you think about it. Jingles are literally engineered to be earworms. So why does a specific song get activated at a specific moment? Dr. Vicky Williamson at Goldsmiths, University of London, identified the most common triggers, and most of them have nothing to do with actually hearing the song. The number one trigger is recent exposure. If you hear a song, even in the background, even if you don't consciously notice it, your brain files it away. But the more interesting triggers are associative. Seeing a word that reminds you of the lyrics. Hearing a few notes from a different song with a similar pattern. Feeling an emotion you once associated with that song. Your brain connects dots you didn't even know were there, and suddenly a song from 2008 is playing in your head while you're standing in the checkout line. Researchers have also drawn a connection to the Zeigarnik effect, the well-documented psychological tendency to remember unfinished tasks far better than completed ones, because earworms are almost always fragments. Usually the chorus, usually just that 15 to 30-second loop. Your brain may be treating them as incomplete. It keeps replaying the loop, trying to finish something that was never actually meant to finish. For most people, earworms last minutes or hours. But history contains cases that go far beyond normal. Jean Harris, convicted of murdering her lover Dr. Herman Tarnower in 1980, reported having the song Put the Blame on Mame stuck in her head for over 33 years. She could hold a full conversation while the song played on an endless loop in her mind. It never stopped, not once. In 1876, Mark Twain published A Literary Nightmare, a story about a man driven to the brink of madness by an inescapable jingle, who only finds relief by transferring the earworm to someone else. In 1943, science fiction writer Henry Kuttner published Nothing But Gingerbread Left, about a song deliberately engineered to incapacitate enemy soldiers. In 1957, Arthur C. Clarke wrote The Ultimate Melody, a story about a scientist who creates a melody so perfectly calibrated to the brain's electrical rhythms that it induces permanent catatonia. These are fiction, obviously, but Harvard Medical School has documented real cases where persistent earworms signal something serious. If a song stays stuck in your head for more than 24 continuous hours, it can be a symptom of stroke, brain tumors, certain forms of epilepsy, or obsessive-compulsive disorder. In most people, earworms are harmless, but the line between annoying and pathological is thinner than you'd think. So how do you actually make it stop? Researchers have tested multiple methods, and several of them genuinely work. Scientists at Western Washington University found that engaging your working memory with moderately difficult tasks is one of the most effective approaches. Doing a puzzle, solving an anagram, reading something that requires concentration. The theory is that earworms occupy the same cognitive bandwidth as working memory. Fill that bandwidth with something demanding, and the song gets crowded out. In 2015, researchers at the University of Reading published a study that got a lot of attention. Chewing gum significantly reduces earworms. The mechanism is surprising. It's not about distraction. Chewing gum suppresses something called subvocal rehearsal, the same brain mechanism that lets you hear words in your head when you're reading silently. Earworms use this exact pathway. When you chew gum, you physically interrupt the loop. Then there are cure songs, specific tunes that seem to reset your mental playlist. The most commonly cited cure song, according to research from Durham University, is God Save the King. Happy Birthday also works remarkably well. The idea is straightforward. You replace the earworm with a song that's so familiar and structurally complete that your brain processes it fully and naturally lets it go. And here's the most counterintuitive one. Listen to the actual song, all the way through, from beginning to end. Remember, earworms are almost always fragments. Just the chorus, just the hook. Your brain keeps replaying it because it's incomplete. Playing the full song gives your brain the resolution it's been craving. The loop closes, the earworm dies. This raises a deeper question. Why does this happen at all? What possible evolutionary purpose is served by your brain randomly playing pop songs at 2 a.m.? The leading theory is that earworms are a side effect of something incredibly valuable, the brain's memory consolidation system. When you learn something important, your brain replays it, literally refires the same neural pathways to strengthen the memory. Music, especially music with words, is an unusually dense information package. Melody, rhythm, language, emotion, all encoded together in a compact form. Your brain may treat it as valuable data worth rehearsing. In this view, an earworm isn't a glitch. It's evidence that your brain's memory systems are working exactly as designed. The design just didn't anticipate Billboard Hot 100 singles. There's something almost beautiful about earworms when you think about it. A song you heard once, maybe years ago, in a specific place at a specific moment, and your brain held on to it. It kept it. It brings it back unbidden when a word or an emotion or a random neural firing triggers the right memory. The song that's stuck in your head right now didn't get there by accident. Some part of you somewhere decided it mattered. So the next time you're lying awake at 2 a.m. with a pop chorus on repeat, don't fight it. Your brain is just doing what brains do. And if you really need it to stop, chew some gum, solve a puzzle, or just play the whole song. Your brain has been waiting for the ending.